Can you read that again, what you found?
Yeah, so I'm on Netflix. I was looking for documentaries, which you have to search for documentaries now. It's not just a list of stuff anymore. And one of the things that came up under documentary is this Netflix series, The Future of. It's got 12 different episodes. Came out last year, actually. And it says, the future of dogs, dating, houseplants, future of gaming, space, vacations, cheeseburgers, the future of life after death, the future of sports, fashion, skyscrapers. But the two that stopped me, the future of health. It says experts break down 3D printed super organs, genetic upgrades, and other medical breakthroughs that will revolutionize healthcare as we know it. And I was like, all right, well, what's the next one? And it says headphones, and you think nothing of it. It says headphones, right? But according to this, musicians, neuroscientists, and futurologists talk about the power of sound and emerging tech that can interpret brain activity in real time.
Well, that's kind of like the connection that they had where they can create a video from people's brain waves.
From their dreams or what they've
seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, this whole medicine thing is actually pretty interesting because I just sent you a link. Mm-hmm. Medicine is now free.
Not all medicine.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Local vending machine offers free medicine for drug overdoses. But they can't offer medicine for people who don't have drug overdoses?
Can I go real controversial for a second, if you don't mind?
You always do.
I always do. So here's my issue. Drug problems take lives. It kills people. It ruins families and all kinds of stuff. And they're giving you free medicine for drug overdoses, which basically says go ahead and do all the drugs you want. Here's free medicine to stop you from dying, right? We know this is a problem, but we want you to be able to keep doing this, so go ahead and take this free medicine from us. Yet, a lot of places want to ban abortion.
Health officials said that the goal of the vending machines aims to significantly reduce opioid-related overdose deaths by increasing distribution of free naloxone and increase safer prescribing of opioids. You really think somebody who finds himself in a situation of overdosing on a prescription drug is going to have the presence of mind to rush to this vending machine to get the antidote?
No, they'll hit the vending machine first, go ahead and wipe it out and have all of the special medicine they need just in case, or as a fun little drug cocktail.
The first vending machine was installed outside of Huron County Public Health Headquarters at 28 Executive Drive in Norwalk. I got to see where that is. I don't know where Norwalk is. This is Ohio. Okay, this is Ohio.
It's the same thing as if somebody's super drunk and you just, and before they get behind the wheel of the car, you just give them a cup of coffee and tell them to keep going. All this is a way to say it's okay to do these things that are harmful and damaging to your body, to your family, to your existence.
No, you're right. You're right. But I'd be willing to bet that the creator of this drug probably has some contract with
the drugs that people are overdosing on also?
I guess full circle.
Mm-hmm. No, it always is. It always is.
There's a connection. Like, do you really want to alienate your target market to the point of which that's why it's hard to find quality products, because if you did, then you wouldn't rebuy.
Yeah.
In this instance,
now,
if what you sell...
Back in the day, quality products were
right,
a
exactly.
thing.
But in this instance, if what you sell kills your customer, you no longer have a customer.
Exactly.
Which is, it's crazy. It's crazy that, along with a variety of other things, one being the weather. Denver weather is getting hit with severe storms, including golf ball-sized hail, damaging wind, and tornadoes, which we considered going that direction, and then in the last 48 hours decided not to.
Yeah.
Decided not to avoid. Well, it wasn't to avoid that. We just decided not to.
Yeah.
And we were actually trying to avoid rain on the East Coast.
Which is why we are where we are now.
Yeah, we're in the Middle Coast.
Coast.
This got me thinking about those who do not have shelter, i.e., homeless. Because how does a homeless population deal with like hail and high winds and tornadoes?
Well, you got to think the same way somebody who happened to be walking somewhere and got caught out in it. They're going to go under a bridge. They're going to go into a place that has walls and ceiling and doors, whether it's a store or a restroom somewhere. That's what I would think. They're just going to find shelter like anybody else would. However, the downside is if you are visibly homeless, a lot of places won't let you in.
Now, we have seen our fair share of quote unquote, I'm doing air quote, homeless people.
Unhoused is the term.
Unhoused
that
here
started
in
last year.
Chicago, sitting on street corners, holding signs. But I've also seen them on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I explained to you that we need to reevaluate the use of the term homeless.
I agree.
Because we could be homeless. We are currently traveling, not necessarily sure where we're going to end up, in the long run, or at least in the interim, in the short term. And if we didn't currently have a lease for an apartment or own a home, then technically we would be homeless for this period of time. But that doesn't mean that you're poor.
Correct.
It doesn't mean that you're broke. It doesn't mean you don't have money. It doesn't mean you don't have income.
True.
Whereas,
there are people who choose to live on the streets because it's cheaper and because they don't want to pay the prices for that. I mean, I've had people in my comments who are like, listen, I choose to live in a tent in the middle of nowhere because I don't want to pay the man for whatever, and I don't want to be on a grid and all this other stuff. And
somebody even
they would be considered homeless.
They said, I think they lived on the water. They lived on a boat somewhere, which is growing in popularity.
Yes.
And they were like, when we moved back on land, we got all these extra bills.
Yeah.
And all these extra costs.
Yeah.
And it's like, but do you know who's technically homeless? Or at least has described it to be that way?
Who?
Christian Schaefer.
She has an apartment lease, though.
Early on in her videos, she was explaining the challenges of living on the road and full-time van life.
Yeah. Not having a home address to
Right.
send things to. She'd have to make sure she
Right.
was in a certain town with a address, and sometimes she'd have to stay there for days in order to get something delivered. So, yeah.
Technically homeless.
Yeah.
Definitely not broke. Definitely not.
But is homeless the same thing as nomad? Because to me, that's more nomad.
Well, I just think that
But a lot of
when
people
we
will
hear
look
the
at certain
term
things.
homeless, we automatically make this connection and correlation with what is essentially being a new evolution of the term, much like a lot of other terms
True.
that have evolved here recently. Plus side, this solar storm is expected to make the northern lights visible in 17 states, which I assume would include southern Canada.
Hopefully, because if not, we're going to have to scoot back over the border
So
for Thursday.
we may be able to see the northern lights here soon. That would be really cool.
really
Aurora
cool.
Borealis.
Yeah, I've seen it in so many movies and things, and I've always wanted to see it. And then part of where I wanted to go in Alaska is actually where they filmed the movie The Proposal with Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock.
Betty White.
And Betty White, mainly Betty White.
And
Actually,
the
it's got
guy from
everybody. It's
Coach.
got Coach. Yeah, I was about to say Coach. And then Mary Steenburgen. I'd like her from the movie Parenthood. I don't know if you've ever seen it with her and, what's his name? From Father of the Bride. I love him, and I can't think of his name.
Martin?
Yeah. What's his name? Steve Martin. It's Steve Martin and Mary Steenburgen, which she's married to Ted Danson, but that's not the point. The movie Parenthood is friggin' hilarious. But anyway, what were we saying? Yes. So from there, I wanted to go there in Alaska because I think you can see the Aurora Borealis from there too.
Again, another perk to traveling this year is the fact that if we wanted to make the trip, or even still the trip that we do plan to make crossing over into Canada, The jab is no longer required.
Yes, I have so many people in my comments going, "Oh, good to know you, blah blah blah." I'm like, you don't know anything. Number one, number two, do a little research before you jump in my
You don't
comments
know
and talk out your butt.
Nothing.
It's so much easier to have a little bit of knowledge behind the things that you say as opposed to zero knowledge.